I have had the privilege of living in America. This country is one of the most free, prosperous, and educated nations in the world. However, despite our free speech laws and lack of government suppression, not to mention being the most literate society, there is a dark and dangerous place in America where people go to hide. These are the places and people who have committed an atrocious act or been accused of one. The first and most frightening thing is that there are people who actually go there. They come in one of two ways. Either they want to leave the burden of their crime on someone else, or they are afraid to do so. In both cases, the people who commit these crimes, or are accused of them, never leave their community because they are too afraid of getting caught. They hide there, or are hidden there. These places exist all around us, sometimes in your own backyard. They are quiet, peaceful, and safe. Some of them have nice houses and even beautiful scenery, as the woods are the perfect backdrop for an atrocious act. Others are more like small communities, with a small school or business, and no one would ever know they were there, unless you were searching for them. These places are filled with the worst type of people you could ever imagine. There is no room for decent people. It's true that these places aren't even as bad as they sound, but there are people who have been accused of crimes in these places. Some of these people will show the public a good face, as their public persona is completely different from their personality and character. They can be very charming and likable, and the worst people you'd think that these places were full of, but even they get angry when someone speaks badly about them. I'm sorry to say, but in many of these places, there are no good people. It isn't that they have been accused, or even have been convicted of something, but just the fact that they live there and are hiding from the world is reason enough to be afraid. They are hiding because of the fear of being caught and what could happen to them. They go there even though they are guilty of the crime. For these people, it's not about the crime they are guilty of, or even if they are guilty at all, but it's because they cannot admit to what they have done, so they hide there. It is a terrible feeling, and to make matters worse, many of them don't even know they are guilty. Some of them say that they are innocent, even if they are not, because they just do not want to admit it. They are too scared to tell anyone and hide there. These are the people who do not understand the meaning of the word guilty. When the police raid these places, they do not find people who are innocent. These people are guilty. The places where they go are like a small prison. I cannot call them a home, because no one would ever call a prison a home. The people who live in these places know that they are guilty and are hiding from the world, so they keep to themselves. They don't show a good face to the public, and the public knows it. The public is afraid of what could happen to these people who have been accused of a crime. There are worse places in this world, and I would never suggest that people who are innocent would stay in a place like this. I know, because I've been accused of a crime. I am guilty, and it is hard to admit to the crime I have committed, but I would never hide from the world, and that is why I am writing this. In August of this year, I was accused of one of the worst acts of my life. I was accused of stabbing someone to death. I was living a normal life, hiding from the world because of my fear of getting caught, and I could not tell anyone because I did not know what to do. If I had been found out and taken away by the police, I would have had a very hard time explaining to everyone why I was guilty. I would have had to lie, and then I would have had to continue lying to cover my lies, and eventually my lies would have been the truth. It was not a good way for a normal person to explain a crime. I couldn't tell the truth because I couldn't tell everyone that I was guilty of murder. It was the wrong thing to say, because it would have meant that I had to be sent to prison. That is why I was afraid of the police. I couldn't let people know I was guilty, because I didn't want them to send me to prison. I also didn't want them to do it, because I knew I would be scared. Even now, I am still afraid. I have to live with the thought that the world knows I am guilty, and that the people I care about know I am guilty. I will not hide from the world, even if my story would cause me to be hunted by those who know that I am guilty. I will not hide in this world. The world does not deserve someone like me, and I will do everything in my power to avoid prison. They knew I was guilty, because I had no choice but to confess. That is why I am guilty.